survivors. back to 49 News for our third episode of the fall semester. My name is Jessica Nemick.
And I'm Emily Madison. Thanks for tuning in tonight.
Last night was a big night for the United States, with the results finally coming in on who would be the new 47th president.
To dive deeper into this monumentous time and all of the election results, we have Emma Schneider here with us for your political update. Hi, Emma. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks, ladies. We certainly have a lot to cover. Me for a political update. It was a very big day yesterday for Americans with Election Day. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump went head-to-head for the most powerful position in America. And in the early hours of the morning, the Associated Press news declared former President Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States. Former President Trump's win comes from key wins in swing states of Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and soon to be followed by Michigan, Arizona, and Nevada. Donald Trump becomes the first president since Grover Cleveland in 1892 to win non-consecutive presidential terms, the first president who is a convicted felon, and the oldest presidential-elect. This will be the second time in 8 years that American voters have chosen Donald Trump over electing the first woman president. Staying on the national stage, Republicans have also claimed a majority in the United States Senate, being able to flip 3 Senate seats. The House of Representatives is still too close to call in key states like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, which leaves it up for grabs by either party. Bringing election news back to the local level, it was an exciting day for Delawareans who have elected both the first woman and black senator in the state's history with Lisa Blunt Rochester, and the first transgender congressperson in the United States with Sarah McBride. The governor's race was also won by Democrat Matt Meyer, and the lieutenant governor is now Kyle Evans-Gay. In other historic wins, Senator Andy Kim from New Jersey has become the first Korean senator to serve in the country. Angela Also Brooks has become the first black woman senator in Maryland. Bernie Moreno has become the first Hispanic statewide official for Ohio. And Julie Johnson has become the first openly gay representative elected from the southern states. That is all I have so far for election updates. Votes are still being counted across the country, and updates will soon be announced through the Associated Press and other news outlets as they have decided. Have a safe night, Newark, and back to Emily with the rest of the news.
Although Election Day is past and the results are out, UD students made their voices heard by voting, most of them for the first time. Michael Stoll has the story.
Like the longest election season ever, it was finally time for Americans to make their voices heard. Students had many options to turn in their ballot. They could either have voted in person on Election Day at their home precinct or have registered here in Delaware to vote in person. Students could have also voted absentee from their home state and voted by mail or early in person if they visited home. With this election being such high stakes, we're out on the green asking students how they voted and what issues compelled them to vote.
I voted with an absentee ballot that I asked for online. After 4 years here, I'll be looking for a job and trying to make money, and that's why I wanted to vote and make sure that my vote goes towards me and my future.
I voted through a mail-in ballot that I got through filling out an application online. Just through all the media, I was really compelled to vote this year. It's my first year voting, so it's just a big year to get out there and vote.
UD hosted many events encouraging students to engage in the electoral process, including voter registration drives and Election Night Central, where students could watch the results come in together.
So every year, I think the second Tuesday in September, we celebrate National Voter Registration Day. So you might have seen us out on the green. We have U-Dairy ice cream and lots of ways to engage students who are just walking across the green. And then we're helping them celebrate their presumably first time voting in a presidential election. On Tuesday night, November 5th, we have what we've been doing since 2008, something called Election Central, where we have games, activities, and of course are watching the returns of the election results coming in. So it's a place for students to gather as a community instead of sitting at home, maybe munching on popcorn, anxiously awaiting the results, to actually celebrate with your fellow students. It's obviously a nonpartisan event.
As the sun sets in this election season, hopefully all Americans can have a sigh of relief knowing they did their part in this democratic process. At least until the next election season. Reporting for 49 News, I'm Michael Stoll.
It's certainly interesting to see what fellow students have to say about this year's election. Now sending it over to Sienna for the Blue Hen weather forecast.
Thank you, Emily, and good evening, Newark. I'm meteorologist Sienna Casso with the weather. Starting off with a national headline close to home, yesterday was tied for the warmest election day in Philadelphia ever recorded. We should have seen temperatures closer to 59 or 60 degrees. However, it was a remarkable 76 degrees with clear skies. Looking at the map, almost all of our state is in deep orange, meaning we are experiencing severe drought, with a small pocket in light orange, meaning moderate drought in that area. There has been minimal rain and excessive heat across the state, leaving 3 counties designated as primary drought disaster areas. This includes Kent, Newcastle, and Sussex County. Now let's take a look at our local conditions. This afternoon, our temperature capped in the mid-70s, which is slightly warmer than average. As of now, we are sitting at a nice 70 degrees. However, by 8 a.m. tomorrow, we will be in the low 60s. Looking at the overnight forecast, our temperature will drop to the mid-60s with partly cloudy skies. Due to daylight savings, the sun set around 5 p.m. and will rise again at 6:40 a.m. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast. Besides a 50% chance rain on Sunday, it's going to be a nice clear week with highs in the mid to low 70s. Looking at the weekend, it will be pretty hot in the mornings with cooler evenings. Looking at the beginning of next week, we start off with a Honda Monday that cools down a bit for Tuesday and Wednesday. Thank you for tuning into Blue Hen Weather, and see you next time.
Time you remember throwing on your rain jacket or using an umbrella on campus. If you're drawing a blank on the last rainfall, there's a serious reason why. October 2024 has made history as Delaware's first ever rainless month on record. Governor John Carney declared a statewide drought watch on October 25th, urging residents to voluntarily cut back on outdoor water use. Despite the drought watch, water supply in the state is still good, and statewide water suppliers do not anticipate impacts on residents. Make sure to look up at the sky on November 11th and 12th. The Northern Taurids, which is a long-lasting meteor shower, will be visible to the human eye, weather permitting, of course. It's expected that 5 slow-moving meteors will be visible every hour as part of the show. The meteors will appear as shooting stars, and it's possible that they will be very bright, looking like a fireball. Best viewing will be away from light pollution, so away from populated areas. Last night was quite the nail-biter for people all across America as they waited for the election results to roll in. For UD students, they were able to join in at the anticipation at a live watch party hosted in Perkins. Casey Nyman went to check out the moments before the final verdict.
If there's one thing about UD students, it's that they love a party. And, of course, their civic duty. Across campus, students continually showed their passion and care about voting this election year. To celebrate the momentous day and eagerly await the votes, students crowded into Perkins Student Center to watch the live results roll in.
The big day is finally here. It's Election Day, and we're here at Perkins to see how students are feeling now that the results are about to come out.
The Red, White, and Blue Night, formerly known as Election Central, was an opportunity for students to gather together to see the poll results in real time. Hosted by UD's Center for Political Communication, it truly was a party, with cupcakes, swag, and a line out the door for t-shirts. But at the core of it all, this event meant so much more to these young voters. Students engaged in open conversation as they watched their futures unfold on the big screen.
I'm actually working with the Center for Political Communication as well as SNF Ithaca Initiative. So basically just trying to promote like free speech as well as intelligent conversations and trying to encourage students that they can really talk about this election and not have to feel worried about it, and trying to stray away from like the too political topics, but stuff like what matters to everybody.
For many students, they took advantage of their day off to vote, hang out with friends, and catch up on studying. But for others, they found themselves traveling far lengths for their civic duty.
That meant I went home earlier, down to Sussex County, and I voted. Just my civil duty. Beyond that, I'm having some fun with friends now. It's been a great day.
Yeah, well, I signed up to volunteer ahead of time, but I actually had gotten asked for an absentee ballot so I could vote from here, but it came in late. So I was like, I'm determined to vote. I'm determined to make sure my vote gets counted. So I was like, let me just go home really fast. And I went at like 8 a.m. Yeah, at my elementary school to vote in Connecticut, actually. And then I took the Amtrak back here.
With so much chaos surrounding this election season, students still voice their optimism towards their futures.
Whichever way it goes, we're gonna keep moving. We're still gonna be America. It's gonna happen. Peace and love. I don't like to get into too many arguments over it. I think it's just whatever happens, happens. I can't control it beyond my one vote in Delaware, which, yeah.
Being actively being able to make a change. This is something I've been waiting for forever. Again, I would literally go into the booth with my dad when I was little, and he would pick me up and let me fill in the bubble for him. And now that I get to do it on my own, it's empowering that I have the opportunity, the right. It's a privilege to be able to vote, and I'm being able to exercise that. So I think it's really important.
Ending their nights by watching CNN, Fox, and NBC, hundreds of students bonded over their lack of cable and love for free t-shirts to take part in this big event for the United States. Packed into the lounges of Perkins, the memory of watching this turning point in history live is something these students will forever share. Reporting for 49 News, I'm Casey Nyman.
Daylight saving time has ended, and AAA is bringing awareness to the increased road dangers during this time due to limited visibility and drowsy driving. According to the AAA Foundation of Traffic Safety Research, nearly 18% of fatal crashes from 2017 to 2021 are linked to sleepy drivers. The organization also explains that sleep deprivation behind the wheel is comparable to drunk driving in terms of risk. To stay safe, drivers should get at least 7 hours of sleep, take regular breaks on long trips, and reduce nighttime speeds. Pedestrians and cyclists should also be extra cautious. This year marked the 54th running of the New York City Marathon. In the men's division, it was Abdi Nagy of the Netherlands who took the crown with a time of 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 39 seconds. For the women, the winner was Sheila Chipikuri with a time of 2 hours, 24 minutes, and 35 seconds. As for America, our top racers finished in 6th on both sides of the race. For the American men, Conor Mantz, and the American women were led by Sarah Vaughan. Although he only finished in 6th, Conor Mantz set a record for the fastest finishing time ever by an American at exactly 2 hours and 9 minutes. Next year's marathon will be held on November 2nd. For some more insights into what's happening in UD and Philly sports, we have sports anchor Ryan Coluccio.
Thanks, Emily. Let's get started with some UD football. The gang had their bye week last week, so their only game since our last show was against conference opponent Albany on October 26th. The Blue Hens absolutely demolished Albany by a score of 28-14. UD was led by running back Marcus Yarns as he totaled 170 all-purpose yards and 3 touchdowns. Yarns only had 2 catches in the game, which totaled to 43 yards, but he found his way to the end zone on both receptions, marking the first time in his career with multiple receiving touchdowns in one game. QB Nick Minucci also played a clean game. He was 18 for 27 through the air and tied a career high with 3 passing touchdowns. The Blue Hens' next game is this Saturday, November 9th, at home against top-ranked conference opponent Rhode Island. It's a huge game for the Blue Hens as they look to finish at the top of the conference in their last year before moving to Conference USA. Unfortunately, the men and women's soccer seasons came to a close this past week as the boys were unable to get into the conference tournament following 3 straight losses against conference opponents. For the girls, they were able to make it into the tournament. Unfortunately, they lost their first-round matchup against Hofstra by a score of 1-0. Although the girls couldn't bring home a conference title, head coach Kelly Lawrence said she was incredibly proud of the way her team fought, and she thanked the seniors for building a culture that she feels will live on within the program for many years to come. All right, Blue Hens, with soccer season coming to an end, it's time for some basketball. The boys opened their season Monday night at home against Bucknell. Although the Blue Hens led for the first 56 minutes of the game, they would wind up falling short by a score of 85-73. The boys were led by grad student Eric Timko, who played in his 80th career game in the season opener. The Blue Hens started out hot as they were out to an early 12-point lead, shooting 6 of 7 from 3 in the first 8 minutes of the game. By half, the Blue Hens carried a 46-37 lead. Coming out the second half, Bucknell went on an early 12-4 run. Coming down the stretch, Bucknell took their first lead of the game when the score was 73-71. And although Delaware would go on to tie it up, Bucknell ended the game on a 12-0 run in the final 2 minutes of the game. Their next game is tomorrow night at home against Robert Morris University, and next week they travel to New York to take on Iona. For the women's team, they also fell short in their season opener on Monday by a score of 78-66 against George Washington University. Although the girls shot 43% from three, their total shooting percentage in the game was just a measly 34%. The game was close throughout the first half until George Washington went on a 12-1 run in the final 5 minutes of the half. Coming out for the second half, George Washington picked up right where they left off, as they picked up an 18-point lead by the end of the third. Their lead would grow as large as 22, however, the girls never gave up as they were able to get it down to 12 by the end of the game. Algia Bartholomew led the team in scoring with 14. She also had 5 boards and 3 steals. The girls' next game is this Saturday in Philly against LaSalle, and the home opener is next Tuesday against Temple. Now for some local Philly sports. The Eagles narrowly squeaked by the Jaguars this week. Everything was going great for the Birds as they held a 22-0 lead with 9:25 left in the third. However, a quick touchdown drive and a fumble that got returned for a touchdown by the Jaguars found themselves only down by a touchdown with 5:12 left in the third. The Eagles were able to hold on thanks to a clutch 25-yard touchdown pass from Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith. The Jaguars would go on to score again, making it a 5-point game, but the Birds did hold on and beat them 28-23. Next week, the Birds travel to Dallas for their first matchup of the season against the Cowboys. Lastly, the 76ers have had an absolutely wild ride to start their season. Paul George made his Sixers debut this Monday against the Suns, and in Paul George fashion, he missed the game-tying shot as the clock was expiring, and the Sixers lost 118-116. Shockingly, however, the Sixers' 1-5 start isn't even the worst part of their season. Joel Embiid was just suspended for 3 games after shoving a reporter in the locker room. Embiid had taken issue with a recent column written by Philadelphia Inquirer columnist Marcus Hayes. Hayes mentioned Embiid's late brother, Arthur, whom also Embiid named his son after. He would go on to note how hard it would be for Embiid to leave a legacy for his son and brother if he doesn't show up to work. Embiid took great offense to those comments, which led to the altercation, and Embiid will serve a 3-game suspension without pay as he still looks to make his season debut. That's all the sports I have tonight. We'll be right back with the news after this short commercial break.
'49 News starts right now.
I'm Emma Schneider here with your entertainment news. I'm Laura Daly here with this week's weather update. We could see the clouds are moving in to the area as the night progresses.
I went out to find out what students really think.
Let's see what students at the University of Delaware have to say.
Here's what you can do to keep yourself safe during this holiday season.
Sadly, that is all we have for you tonight on 49 News.
It's back. We're back.
Penn Sport Night, your University of Delaware sports broadcasting show.
That team from Boston. Just because they got a leprechaun don't mean they're going to be lucky.
How has your experience been playing field hockey here?
How magical was the beginning of the season for you guys?
Who are you rooting for this World Cup?
Probably the USA or Scotland.
Watch the play. I don't think they've seen it though. Yeah, you can't guard them. That's not your body.
It's her first time in 10 years, so we're like kind of at the same level.
Welcome to Real Talk.
What is the best Halloween candy?
You had to play a song every time you came into the room. What song would it be?
This movie's bonkers. Let's get right into that.
Yeah. Do you guys like pickles?
No.
I love pickles. I'm so excited.
You see Kanye West as this icon, as this person, and he said some anti-Semitic things. So it's like, how do you deal with it?
There's nothing scarier than a student-run television show with an audience of 13.
Do you mean bi-weekly?
Don't they look stunning?
What? I don't want to hold you back.
Ow!
What now?
McKinley! Shut the hell up!
Let me just leave these babies here, Ricky, while I head on up to the saloon for the hour. I'm just gonna...
I've been your host, Lauren Kapp, and this is the Bi-Weekly Show. Yeah!
Next Monday, November 11th, is Veterans Day, and in celebration, the university is hosting a ceremony tomorrow from 10 to 11:30 a.m. The Division of Student Life, Blue Hen Veterans, and the Biden Institute will be paying tribute to the more than 7,000 servicemen and women who sacrificed their lives since 9/11. The ceremony will take place on the green with welcoming remarks from President Ken Jones and Senator Tom Carper as the keynote speaker. A reception will follow at the Biden Institute. Chances are, if you've ever checked your email, the name Jose Luis Riviera rings a bell. The Vice President of Student Life is hosting another community event to get more involved with the students on campus. Last month, he hosted a t-shirt swap, and with its raging popularity, he is bringing it back next week. Next Wednesday, November 13th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., you can meet Jose while also getting a unique limited edition tie-dye t-shirt. If you bring any non-UD college shirt from 11 to 1, you can trade it in for a specially designed t-shirt featuring the green. Get there quick because supplies will run out fast. If you have been wondering what's been trending in pop culture recently, luckily we have our entertainment, Natalie Ruglio, to fill us in on all the viral movies, music, TV, and more.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining me tonight for our entertainment update. To start out for our couch potatoes, let's see what's new on Netflix. For all of our rom-com lovers, Nobody Wants This might be the perfect show for you. Adam Brody and Kristen Bell star in this series as two star-crossed lovers who have an instant connection. However, their different religions seem to get in the way. Watch them try to prevail through obstacles and make their connection work. And if you end up liking this series, then you're in luck because Netflix has already confirmed a second season to come in the future. If rom-coms aren't your thing, maybe mysteries are. Tag along onto the ongoing mystery and treasure hunt in Outer Banks Season 4. The first 5 episodes of the season have been released and take viewers on a wild ride to find Blackbeard's treasure as they encounter old and new enemies on the way. The second half of the season will be released tomorrow, November 7th. Netflix has also announced that Outer Banks will come back for a 5th and final season where they hope to bring the Pogues home to stay. And for the first time ever, Netflix will be live streaming a boxing mega event headlined by none other than Jake Paul and Mike Tyson themselves. Both heavyweight fighters have been preparing for this match for months and want to come out on top. The rules for this fight entail 8 2-minute rounds instead of the typical 3-minute rounds. They will also both wear 14-ounce gloves, which are heavier than the standard boxing gloves. This match will air live on November 15th and feature other matches as well, including Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano as the co-main event. Now that Halloween is officially over, many are already starting to get into the holiday spirit. The trailer for Our Little Secret starring Lindsay Lohan and Ian Harding is something you don't want to miss. This holiday rom-com highlights 2 exes that are forced to spend their Christmas together due to their current partners being siblings. See how this movie unfolds on November 27th, only on Netflix. For those of you who don't want to let go of Halloween just yet, Madison Bailey and Antonia Gentry are starring in the Netflix movie Time Cut. After the discovery of a time machine and some wanted revenge on the murder of her sister 20 years prior, Lucy Field, played by Madison Bailey, sets out to try and prevent this crime and unmask the killer. Will she be successful? I don't know because I haven't watched it yet. But one thing I do know is that Netflix's thriller movies don't stop there. Newly released movie Don't Move is about the fight for survival after a mourning woman encounters a serial killer, played by Finn Wittrock. Injected with a paralytic drug, this woman, played by Kelsey Asbille, slowly loses her ability to walk, speak, and move as she tries to escape the serial killer. This film will surely keep you on the edge of your seat while watching. On to some other pop culture news. Imagine Beyoncé and Baywatch as one. Well, this is exactly what happened as Beyoncé channeled her inner Pamela Anderson in her new music video, Bodyguard. She recreated 3 of Anderson's iconic looks, the first being her black dress with a plunging neckline, knee-high boots with mesh gloves from barbed wire. The second look she recreated was the infamous red bathing suit from Baywatch. And the final recreation was from Anderson's 1999 MTV Video Music Awards, where she wore a giant pink fuzzy hat, white corset with sparkly leggings. While talking about Beyoncé, will she be nominated for the 2025 Grammys? Billboard Awards editor Paul Green made a prediction for the big 4 artists that will receive a 2025 Grammy nomination. These artists include Beyoncé, Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter, and Charli XCX, and there seems to be a good chance for Chappell Roan as well. It is predicted the pop woman artists will lead the main categories, but nominations are announced in just 2 days on November 8th. Unfortunately, that's all I have for you tonight with entertainment. Thank you, and back to Jessica with more news updates.
Lights, camera, action. The University of Delaware has set the stage for a brand new theater major in the College of Arts and Sciences. Emma Schneider has more.
Any University of Delaware student who has taken a theater class knows about the Delaware Resident Ensemble Players, and the theater classes are very popular among students covering both requirements with assignments that include watching and analyzing productions through the rep. The theater program has been in the works of potentially having a major for 2 years since Chair Steve Tagg, who is also the producing artistic director of the rep, took over the theater department. The theater program at Delaware has always been popular with students, with heavy involvement with student-run theater programs. But even with passionate students, with no major, the university does not have the same numbers of passionate students as they have passionate professors.
It gets tiring teaching people who don't really care about what you're teaching. So mostly the population of students that you're teaching are people who want an easy A, want a group A requirement, want a whatever, and they're not really that interested, not deeply.
The new theater major is complemented by already existing theater minors. The new major itself is called a Bachelor of Arts in Theater Studies and is described as a broader degree.
You want to make it all about performance or all about tech, right? So building a portfolio. So you can make it about theater education. You could make it about theater arts management. You could make it about performance if you want. You could make it about tech and lighting design, stage management, direction, writing, playwriting, all of those are possible.
The major is also the first of its kind in a competitive way seen at the national level.
Because it's the only major that has a professional theater on the campus devoted to undergraduate study. There are other places that have theaters associated with the program, but it's almost always at the master's level. So I think we're the only one in the country that is devoted to undergraduate.
The new major has already added 14 new upper-level classes for students who are interested, but Tagg is mainly looking to fill a hole he has seen in Delaware youth.
It grew up in the Midwest, and seeing the lack of a theater program for in-state Delaware students hit close to home.
It was on my mind to provide something for the young people of Delaware that have to leave the state or they're way down south with the chickens and they don't get to see anything, I thought, well, that just didn't seem right to me.
The program already has 13 current students double majoring in the program and over 26 applicants with early applications this November. Hopefully the major continues to see growth and continues to add to the arts of Delaware and help in-state students stay close to home and do what they love. For 49 News, I'm Emma Schneider.
In other theatrical news, this December, First State Ballet Theater is showcasing a classic that will be perfect for Delawareans looking for a festive spectacular. Their adaptation of The Nutcracker has drawn in professional dancers from all across the world, even as far away as Japan and Mexico. This professional live production will take place from December 14th to the 22nd at the Grand Opera House. Along with their impressive dancing skills, First State Ballet says that they hope that the representation of male dancers in this classic ballet performance will give young boys who want to seek out ballet role models to look up to. The First State Ballet Theater is committed to educating and inspiring its audience in Delaware and emphasizes inclusive experiences. On October 30th, Starbucks announced it will no longer charge extra for non-dairy milk. This change comes after years of complaints from vegan and lactose-intolerant customers. Almost half of U.S. Starbucks customers pay to modify their beverage, paying an average of 10% more for their drink. The new appointed CEO states that he has made a commitment to get back to Starbucks, focusing on what has always set Starbucks apart, being a welcoming coffee house where people gather and serving the finest coffee handcrafted by skilled baristas. The charge will end on November 7th, the same day the holiday menu is released.
Google Maps is launching new AI-powered features to enhance user experience. With their new Gemini technology, Google Maps will allow users in the U.S. to ask for recommendations on things to do in specific areas, like restaurants and attractions, while also providing details on parking options and directions. It also includes enhanced visuals to offer clearer guidance and smoother navigation. Waze, Google's navigation app, will also adopt AI. This AI integration will reflect Google's confidence in minimizing misinformation and help to fix past errors. Looking ahead to the next holiday on everyone's radar, the iconic Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is bound to have something for everybody. From country music stars Dan and Shay to Vanderpump Rules star Ariana Madix, they've got it all. The parade will start November 28th at 8:30 a.m. and will be streamed on Peacock, so be ready for the 17 character balloons, 22 floats, 15 inflatables, 11 marching bands, and 700 clowns.
That's all we have for tonight's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Be sure to check back in on December 4th for our final show. I'm Jessica Nemec.
And I'm Emily Madison. Until next time.